My favorite fights of recent that I've watched. This is Pernell Whitaker versus Chavez. Now, I've previously made a video about Chavez versus Hector Camacho and how Chavez got off the ring using the same setup, which was he would watch the left foot of Chavez. He would take a step with the left foot, put it outside the lead foot or the right foot of his southpaw opponent. Then he would take a step with his right foot. Now, Chavez, when he took the step with the right foot, he didn't switch southpaw. It was more to make him square because he was going to take another step with the left to bring him back to balance. So he would take that step with the left to cut off Whitaker from moving to the outside to Chavez's left. Now he would pop a right hand right there. You could see it. He would pop a right hand. It's not meant to be hard, but it's meant to disguise his step. And you see how he steps here. And now he's going to take another step with his left to cut off Whitaker. But what Whitaker did different than Hector Camacho was that he would actually pivot like this. And then he would tie up Chavez and push him back. Okay, let's watch this again. So Chavez did the same setup versus Hector Camacho and Pernell Whitaker. Now you can see Whitaker was a step ahead of Chavez. He did a couple things right. First of all, Whitaker didn't back up completely to the ropes. He always kept space between his back foot. If you watch the left foot of Whitaker and the ropes, he kept some space to allow him to step back and step out if Chavez cut off the ring. So here you can see Chavez put that left foot outside of Pernell Whitaker's right foot, takes that step with the right foot, but Whitaker does not stand there. He moves and he gets off, he jabs, and he spins off. Okay, let's see what happens here. And again. Now, this move by Chavez it's a great move, but a guy like Pernell Whitaker that knew how to move around the ring, he solved this problem. So here you see Chavez put his foot outside of Pernell Whitaker's, take that step with the right hand. Whitaker moves back, circles off, pops his jab, and gets off. And that was again here. See how Chavez goes squared? Throws that left hand, Pernell Whitaker's out of there. Let's watch that again. And you see how Whitaker keeps circling to his right? Now, another thing that Whitaker did that Hector Camacho didn't do was, first of all, Whitaker stood bladed, so he always put his lead shoulder into the chest of Chavez when Chavez squared up. Hector Camacho stayed more square. Hector Camacho stayed closer to the ropes, so he allowed Chavez to actually put him against the ropes. And we shall see here. And when Pernell Whitaker tied up Chavez, he didn't just stand there and wait for the ref to break them up. He would push him back. And here, Pernell Whitaker, after the ref broke them apart, he's back in the middle of the ring. Okay? That was a nice pivot. You see him as soon as he sees Chavez square up, throw that right hand and try to cut him off. Look how he escapes. Beautiful. And then he's back having more space. Now you can see it more. Chavez is going to throw that right hand. And now as Chavez is squared, as he's about to take his right step, Pernell Whitaker throws a left hand. He doesn't connect as clean, but he doesn't get cornered. Always moving to his right outside of Chavez. That was beautiful. Let's watch this again. So Chavez coming in, throws that right hand. Now over here, Hector Camacho would have not moved. He would have stayed on the ropes. But what Pernell Whitaker does, he steps back, throws a jab, and gets out of there. Aims his shoulder at Chavez, so his lead shoulder is aimed at him. So he's half the target. pivots, steps off. Now he's back in the middle of the ring. Beautiful work. Now this is the other thing that Pernell Whitaker did really good, is that because he was sideways, he was in a bladed stance. When Chavez squared up with that right hand, Pernell Whitaker could bump him with that lead shoulder right into his chest, and he would push him back. Okay, and then he would work his uppercuts off of that too after he would bump Chavez with his lead shoulder. And see how Pernell Whitaker is always moving to the outside. This is a master class of angles and movement that I think a lot of fighters should watch to get away from a pressure fighter. Watch that. Controls the shoulder, gets jabs and moves. See that again? So Chavez, he takes that step. If you could see his lead foot, it's on the outside of Pernell Whitaker. But Pernell Whitaker is already on the move. If you see his back foot, it's already swinging back. And Chavez is going to step with the right foot here. Now this would have been perfect if they were positioned, if Chavez was, if you know what I mean, if Pernell's back was against the ropes, but Pernell Whitaker can already move out. And he's free again. And he comes back. Let's watch this again. Okay, let's watch this again. So he's moving, steps off, and now he's going to come back into the attack. Okay, perfect. Move into the right, circling to the right. Aim that shoulder. When you aim that shoulder, when you're bladed, you're half the target. Now I see Chavez, he landed that right hand sometimes, a few times actually. So he'd pop that right hand and move his right foot forward. But as soon as he would do that, Pernell Whitaker is out of there. He's not staying in front of him. And you see now, Chavez is squared up. Pernell Whitaker jabs, bumps him with his shoulder, and then works that left hand. And Chavez is a huge target because he's standing squared. Now, Hector Camacho, he did some of this, maybe 5 times, but the rest of it, he didn't do much of this. He moved, but his back was against the ropes. He wasn't bladed. He was a lot easier to catch than Pernell Whitaker. And there goes that shoulder bump again. So see how Chavez is squared. Pernell Whitaker gets him with that right shoulder. I highly suggest, if you watch this fight, to watch this fight and watch Hector Camacho versus Chavez. You'll see the difference between good movement and useless movement. Smart movement, how Pernell Whitaker was able to keep the fight in the middle of the ring when he was pressured, and how Hector Camacho let Chavez pin him to the ropes. The other thing that Pernell Whitaker started doing is when he saw Chavez throw that right hand, he would pop the jab, gives him a little bit more time to move out. Let's watch this again. Pops that jab. He's walking back, pivots, controls the lead shoulder of Chavez, pushes him a little bit so he could get out of there. And this is perfect right here. Chavez goes for he's squared, and Pernell Whitaker catches him with that left uppercut, right hook, gets out of there. You see right here, Chavez is completely squared. His legs aren't bent, and that's a perfect position for Pernell to throw his uppercut from. Square on the chin. Now, Chavez had a great chin, and he was going to move forward whether you hit him or not. So Pernell Whitaker had to do this move. He had to pivot. He had to use these moves throughout the whole fight. There was not a time where, you see how he squared right here? There wasn't a time where Chavez gave up from coming forward. See right here, he's completely sideways. Okay, Pernell Whitaker uppercuts him, and left hand. Completely squared up. watch the feet of Pernell and the feet of Chavez. It's like they make a T. So Pernell Whitaker is the long part of the T, and then Chavez's feet is the top part of the T, if that makes sense. And that's the perfect angle for Pernell to throw punches from. Now this would have favored Chavez if Pernell Whitaker's back was against the rope, but in the middle of the ring, this is actually bad for him because he's a bigger target. You see that again. Now Pernell Whitaker can land his left hands at will, and like I said, Chavez had a great chin. He wasn't gonna back down, so it's pretty tiring for Pernell Whitaker to keep doing this for the whole fight, but that's what makes this such a good fight. Yeah, so I highly suggest. I made a video about Camacho versus Chavez, the same type of video, and now I made this one about Pernell and Chavez. If you want to watch it, how two different southpaws deal with the same problem in Chavez. And thank you for watching. Bye.